Hi, hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Doing good. You?
Doing great. Thank you for
Awesome.
asking.
Of course.
How is your trainings going, man?
Training's been going pretty good. Getting back to work from knee surgery, but unfortunately, I had to have a second knee surgery last week on that same knee to clean it up. It was kind of to be expected from my doctor. He said he did so much work in there that I probably developed so much scar tissue from healing, and he'd have to go back in there and scope it and clean it out. So I had surgery last Wednesday to do that, and probably a couple weeks back to big jump forward.
Yeah. What are you doing today?
Today I was in Las Vegas. I worked for Muscle Farm. It's a company I used to be sponsored for, but now I'm working for them. We had some exciting stuff. A big business meeting in Vegas. I had to drive to. I live in Orange County, which is about a 4-hour drive to Vegas. So I had to drive out to Vegas and have a big investor meeting and stuff.
Yeah. Let's go back to previous question. Like, how do you mentally deal with injuries? You know, it was amazing watching you fighting Corey.
Mentally, I mean, yeah, it fucking sucks, right? I like to be active. I like to be in the gym, training nonstop. But I have a lot of other things that keep my mind busy. I got family. I got a 4-year-old son. I got almost too many businesses. I got myself with Clean Juice. I got Muscle Farm. I have a few other projects going on. So I keep myself almost too busy with all that. But I think that's why I keep myself busy because I can't be in the gym.
Yeah. So last time we saw you fight was before 8 months or more than 8 months. At this point, what is different if you compare fight with Cejudo and fight with Corey? Are you different?
Um, I mean, you can always adapt yourself within each camp, right? That's the good thing of being so well rounded is you can change yourself up from fight to fight, depending on who your opponent is. Especially from round to round, right? I mean, I blew my knee out the end of that first round against Sandhagen, and I had to completely be a different fighter. Otherwise the fight would have went a lot more like the first round. I'd been able to keep him down a lot easier. I actually would have finished my takedowns a lot easier. But I had to switch it up and do a little bit more cage work and some Greco, right? So being able to be so well-rounded and switch it up, so you can always be different for every fight, every round. So depending on the opponent, who I plan on fighting on my comeback, I'll be able to be whatever fighter I need to be.
Yeah. So you're still the guy with the most knockout wins in UFC bantamweight division history. So even 8 knockouts, let's say more precisely, TKO and KO finishes. So which one is your favorite?
I mean, it'll always be my first brow fight. I was such an underdog; no one really knew who I was yet. That'll always be by far my favorite. My favorite finish, my favorite fight. The fight just went so perfectly, so I can never top that one, no matter what happens in my career.
Yeah. So Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling are ready. I already heard your opinion about that fight. So, but whom would you like to fight for the title?
Yeah, I plan on fighting Yan. I mean, that's who I think is going to win. That's who I want to fight as well too. I think he is the more dangerous fighter. He's a true fighter, right? Sterling. I think for one, he's already mentally beat with Yan, and then he just is pretty boring to watch his fighting style, right? Yeah, he's got some grappling. He's a little bit dangerous with that, but you got to be weak at grappling for him to be able to submit you. And I feel like Jan's the more well-rounded guy, and he's the more entertaining guy. He's the guy that I'd want to beat to put a stamp on my legacy. Me getting my belt back will be more gratifying doing it against Jan.
Yeah. Is there any other guy except these two that you would like to face off?
No, I mean Jan's the guy I'm gonna be fighting when I come back, or whoever's got the belt, right? Whoever's got that belt is who I'm gonna be fighting when I come back. Makes the most sense. I came off 2-year layoff, beat the #1 contender on one fucking leg. I mean, I did what I needed to do to get my title fight. If anyone else would have blown their leg out like that I did in the first round, they wouldn't have finished the fight. If it would have been flip-flop, Sandhagen would have blown his knee out, there's no way he would have finished the fight, When it comes down to just grit and being mean and being a true fucking fighter, you know, that's myself. And I also think that Jan's that guy as well, right? I think that's who Jan is, and that's another reason why I want to fight him, because I can see myself adding to my knockout record, you know, finishing him. He's a perfect matchup for me.
Yeah, that's definitely. So, long break, 2 years without fighting, without MMA, and we can learn a lot about you, and we can learn a lot from you. How did you overcome that stressful situation? What you dedicated to those 2 years?
I think it was just the way that I was raised, you know, that I'm never going to I mean, let's be honest, every single person on this planet makes a mistake, you know, and if you don't, I don't really trust you, right? Because you're not owning up to it. But everyone makes a mistake, and it's about not letting those mistakes define who you are. Yeah, some mistakes are bigger than others, and what did I be? And it definitely sucked, and there was definitely a super low point in my life going through double shoulder surgery and being on top of the world to having it all stripped away. But I just knew that I needed to get back in there and prove myself, because I wasn't going to let my mistake define who I was, define my legacy of being a fighter.
Yeah. So what was, let's say, the most difficult thing in that situation?
I mean, kind of what I'm going through right now is just not being active, you know? I mean, like I said, I did get suspended, and when I got suspended, I had double shoulder surgery. So, you know, each shoulder surgery is a long layoff. I'm in a sling for 6 weeks with each shoulder, and I did them back to back, like 8 weeks apart. So it was a lot of downtime, you know, a lot of time of not training as well as going through my suspension. So I think that was, you know, by far the toughest, you know, just not being, I mean, the way that I deal with stress and the way that I deal with just the anxiety of life is grinding in the gym. You know, making yourself work so fucking hard that nothing else matters other than how tired you are. You know, and so when you put yourself in the gym for those, you know, 4 to 6 hours, it kind of gets rid of any other anxieties.
Yeah, that's why you are the toughest guy in the bantamweight division.
I appreciate that.
So let's talk about situation between Masvidal and Covington. How do you comment that new situation? You know, this is not the first time that two rivals have a conflict in real life.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't really know what to make of it, right? Like, I mean, yeah, obviously the drama's real. I've been in those real situations, but at the same time, I don't think I would threaten my future and lose it on the streets, right? I'm pretty level-headed to where, you know, I think Colby is as well. You know, I think that all of his shit talk and all of his antics is for him to build up who he is and to get the fights he gets. And when it comes to being on the street, I mean, Masvidal's real, right? So we give him that. I mean, I think we always knew that. But it's kind of unfortunate that he's going through felony charges. I think it's kind of lame, right? I don't know. I guess I don't know what to make of it. I just gotta kind of laugh about it, because I first started reading it saying that Masvidal got charged with double felonies for, you know, assaulting some victim. It didn't say who the victim was. It just said some victim. So I was like, oh shit, Masvidal's losing it, you know. And then the next thing I read, you find out that victim is Colby Covington. I could do nothing but laugh, you know.
Yeah, I understand you. So let's go back through your career. Like you came to UFC 2011. How do you remember your first fight? Who was your role model?
GSP. I feel like GSP was the perfect kind of guy that was so well-rounded and always stuck to a game plan, right? He was a guy that fought differently every fight. He was a guy that could change it up. Like when he fought Josh Koscheck, he relied on his jab. When he fought others, he relied more on his wrestling, right? He was a guy that could be great at everything. He was able to use that to his advantage, right? No weaknesses. And so that was the kind of guy I wanted to model my career after. I didn't really want to leave any holes in my game, you know. So, you know, one of the greats. I feel like he was a great guy to model yourself after.
So how do you remember your first fight?
Oh, yeah, that's right. How do I remember my first fight? It was after, came off the Ultimate Fighter, right? So I lost to Dotson, so I wanted to get right back in the cage as fast as possible. And I fought Wellell Watson in Nebraska. The guy was like 6 feet tall. I knew my best game plan was to go out there and just out-wrestle him. And, you know, but I was able to prove myself within the striking as well. So, obviously very nervous. I think the first half of my UFC career was ridiculously nervous. Just knowing that I had such tunnel vision and that I was so nervous I wouldn't realize what was going on. Like I only had that one goal in mind. That's all I pay attention to. But I don't feel like I really started honing in on my skills and performing to my greatest until I learned to release all those nerves and actually really start to have fun with fighting and realizing that I was in an amazing situation of being in the greatest organization of all time of the UFC and fighting in front of millions of people and not letting that time pass me by. I realized I needed to soak it up. And I feel like the first fight I really did that in was against Mike Easton in Atlanta. Had a ton of fun in that fight, and my career just kind of built off of that.
Yeah, and look at you now.
I appreciate it.
So last time for Freak MMA, Juan Archuleta said that TJ Dillashaw has been very helpful through my career, and he's a good friend of mine. So how do you two connected? How did you become friends?
I've known Juan through the wrestling world, right? We both wrestled in California as kids. He went to Purdue on a scholarship. Always a really great wrestler. So I've known him since I didn't really hang out with him, but I've known of him for a long time. He came up to Team Alpha Male and trained up there. Just visited a few times when I was training up there as well too. So just kind of familiar faces. But then when I decided to coach the Ultimate Fighter, I needed help. I needed guys that could be there and help me coaching. And I knew Juan wasn't a stranger to helping out at the Ultimate Fighter. He just got the season helping Joseph Benavidez. And so I asked him to come out and help me. I only knew him a little bit. And we really became friends as he helped me coaching the show. And actually that's why I decided, because I met his strength conditioning coach, Sam Calvita. That's why I decided to bring my life back down to Orange County and train down here. As long as Dwayne Ludwig was willing to make the trip and come out here and train with me, that I felt like this was a good spot to call home,
Yeah. So a couple of short questions right now.
Yeah.
The most boring fight you have ever seen in the UFC?
Sure, it's probably so boring.
Is that possible?
I mean, yeah, it's probably so boring I forgot about it. I don't know. I mean, that's a real hard question. If it's something you can't remember, right? I mean, you only remember the bar burners.
Okay, so we'll jump to next one. The best female fighter is?
Even though she's coming off a loss, it's still Nunes. Just how dominant she is, right? Like I still think she gets that victory back, but she's just her striking's so dangerous. She packs a real punch, and I think she's probably the most decorated when it comes to female fighters.
Yeah. So the most annoying person in the UFC?
Colby Covington. You said annoying,
Why?
right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why he's been into so many altercations, is because he does a good job of getting under people's skin, right? I mean, even if it is an act, it's still pretty annoying.
Dana White in one word.
One word. I mean, visionary, right? I mean, he's the one that got this thing to where it's at. He had the vision for the UFC and what it was gonna be and what it is now. I mean, he put some put a lot into it in the beginning. He got the Fertitas to coin up to buy this thing and to push it, right? So I'd say visionary.
I think this one is the hardest question, so you will decide it about that. Who is better sparring partner, Cub Swanson or Juan Archuleta?
Man, I mean, that's definitely a tough question, right? Because you got each of them for what they're good at, right? Like Cub is Cub is a crafty veteran, right? You got to stay on your toes with him because he's sneaky, he's flashy, he's got awesome stand-up, and his grappling is very underrated, right? He's got really good top control. So Cub in that aspect, when it comes to just the grind of always going to push you and always in your face, that's Juan Archuleta. He's a guy that I know will never get tired. A guy that's got better cardio than myself. He just goes. He works harder than I do, which is hard to say, right? Like I'm in the gym constantly, but we have the same strength conditioning coach, and this guy's just an animal. So if it's like the grind in your face, wanting to like try to break you, it's Juan Archuleta. And if it's just a crafty veteran, it's Cub Swanson.
What was the best life advice you ever get?
I don't know. My grandpa, my grandpa when I was a young kid competing in wrestling, and this is for my life, right? I mean, it's not for everyone's life because not everyone's a competitor, right? But I mean,
Yeah.
it kind of goes hand in hand with anything. But I actually have it tattooed on my leg. What my grandpa told me is I used to get so nervous when I'd wrestle as a kid. When I'd wrestle kids I knew that were good or decorated, I'd been like state champions or whatever it may be. And my grandpa's 91 years old, cowboy. He's been drinking highballs his whole life. Always got a dip in. He came to me and told me, he's like, boy, don't be worried about him. He's like, every man puts their pants on one leg at a time. Pretty much saying that every man is beatable. Every man is, you're not unhuman, right? You could be beat. You could beat that guy and believe in yourself, right? And so that one has always stuck with me.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
So can we expect the title match soon? Is the new date in sight, maybe?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we got to wait to see what happens with Jan and Sterling here on the 9th. I think it's the 9th, right? Yeah, the 9th, April 9th. So I'll be at that fight to see the action live, to see who's going to top that out. I mean, I definitely put my money on Jan. But after that fight, after that's only a guess, right? I mean, I've been the champion, been in the fight league for a while, so you can kind of count the months after a fight. I'd say, anywhere from August to October, somewhere around there. Just depends on what fight card lines up the best for us and as long as they stay healthy. Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, that's a great news. That will be soon,
Yeah, it comes faster than you think.
Yes.
Time flies. I mean, I got a 4-year-old son, and it's crazy to me to look at him now to see how old he is and how fast my career's gone by as well too, right? Shit goes by way too fast. Someone always tells you that, but you don't believe it until you're 36 years old.
Yes, and what about him? Is he a sportsman or does he like sports?
He loves. He's getting into sports, and he's gonna play his first t-ball game here soon. He's only 4 years old, so it's more about just having fun right now, right? Like he loves beating me up. He loves wrestling me. So he's definitely an aggressive kid, and I know where he gets it from. But when it comes to sports, I mean, he's just playing in the backyard, making sure it's all fun. It's one thing I want to make sure it always is, no matter what he chooses to do, is that it's fun, right? And for any parent out there wanting to get their kid into sports, especially with me with wrestling, because it's such a tough sport, is that you got to make sure it stays fun. Because, I mean, especially with wrestling, it's one-on-one sport, tons of pressure. You can learn to hate wrestling very fast, but you got to make sure the kids are having fun, playing games, enjoying their time, hanging out with friends. That'll make them enjoy sports a lot more, rather than putting the pressure on winning and that kind of stuff,
Yeah, that's definitely. So if you become a champion again, would you move to another division or you will stay in Bantam and defend your belt?
Yeah, I plan on probably defending the belt, right? I mean, coming back and get it. I mean, I didn't want to put my stamp on the greatest bantamweight of all time, come back and get my belt, be a 3-time champion. Got some great competition at the weight class. The weight class is stacked, right? So there's no reason to hold it up. But you never know. You never know what comes at you. But that would be my plan. My plan would be to defend it and to show how great the weight class is, because I've been very impressed with it. And it's got a lot of good names within the weight class. You got Jose Aldo making a big name for himself again. The guy's been a killer for ages, so he's a Hall of Famer. I'd love to, get a win over him after I get my belt back. I mean, the top 10 is just, it's good.
Thank you for this conversation. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
I hope we will talk again soon, and I hope we will talk next time with your belt on.
There we go. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Have a good one.